What's crack-a-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So, and the Senior Bowl, it's in the rearview mirror. Let's look to the future. This is my post-Senior Bowl quarterback rankings for the 2021 NFL draft class. I'm going to give you my top 10, and if you're a Bro Scout tier member, you're going to get my full ranking. So a little initiative to become a member. And you also get access to the Discord. Oh man, look at them perks. Them perks are pretty, but at the very least, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and leave a comment below. It helps the video out a ton, and I love having that nice, intimate, consensual, and casual football discourse. So go ahead and do that. I'll have the rest of my positional rankings come out throughout next week. I'm going to take tomorrow off. It's the big game. So I'm going to order some pizza, get some wings, maybe some french fries, and really just pig out and enjoy the Bucs versus Chiefs. And I suggest you do the same. But without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get in. Number one, we're going to start from one and work our way down. Trevor Lawrence, without a doubt. Number one overall pick. Yes, that's my projection for him. The Jags would be silly. It would be stupid to do anything else. This guy just has a special arm. He can make any and all throws. I always go back to this throw he made against Citadel, and I know it's Citadel, but he didn't have a lot of room in the back of the end zone there for Amari Rodgers, and he just fitted it in there. And it's not like he just gets it done with his arm alone. He had 31 force missed tackles on 106 rushing attempts. He's got amazing pocket presence. He only took 46 sacks and this was over the course of 1,245 dropbacks. He's got probably one of the quickest releases. There's probably one guy that I think has a quicker release in this draft, but one of the quickest releases. He's probably one of the quickest processors at just looking down the field. And speaking of down the field, he was 22 of 51 on throws of 20 yards or more, resulting in 10 touchdowns. If you really want to nitpick, he doesn't give up on plays, and sometimes that comes at his detriment. And if we were looking at the top three guys at quarterback in this draft, I would say the other two are more accurate than he is. But again, this is just nitpicking. Lawrence is a special prospect, and you'd have to be crazy to pass on him. And then at number two, Zach Wilson out of BYU, baby. I think he's top 5 pick, man. Fields, he's close. But for me, Wilson, he just has a special arm, man. Like, just special arm talent. And it's not like he's a one-year wonder. Because if you go back to 2018, he was pretty solid as a true freshman. He threw 12 touchdowns to only 3 picks, and that was over the course of 184 pass attempts. And then 2019, he was plagued by a shoulder and a hand injury. But I don't think those injuries will be something we need to worry about in the future. He's quick, and he's got a very short throwing motion. I mean, go back to like this Western Kentucky game. He literally threw, I think basically off his back foot as well, a 65-yard pass. That's how it traveled through the air. Like, insane accuracy, even when he's not set and off platform. This guy, he really fits the ball in. He's got special ball placement. I'm not exaggerating. He can fit in extremely tight window throws. It's phenomenal. Now, a few of the concerns. Okay. Lesser competition. He was a part of the group of 5. Hardly saw pressure of any sort because BYU's offensive line was pretty stout. But again, I think you're just nitpicking. I really like Wilson. If we're just judging him based on arm talent alone, he's well worth the number 2 overall pick. I'm talking to you, New York Jets. You'd be crazy. Get rid of Sam Darnold. And then Justin Fields here at 3. And I think he's a top 5 to top 10 pick as far as his projection, because a lot of people, like, they want to say, oh, the track record of Ohio State quarterbacks is trash. To which I would say you are quite correct. But a lot of people want to make this comparison to Fields and Haskins. And I think that's very unfair, and it's very dishonest to do so. Because Fields, the way he operates Ohio State's offense is way different compared to Haskins. Haskins, I think his average depth of target was like 4 or 5 yards. He really was just, he benefited from a very screen-heavy offense that likes to rely on its playmakers. That wasn't the case for Fields. He had no problem going downfield. Like 70% of his passing yards were air yards. They came through the air. Just go back to that Clemson game. He was annihilating fools through the air. It's not the same. You want to, if you're just hating Fields because he's an Ohio State guy, then shoot, he was a Georgia guy before he was a Ohio State guy. So, but pinpoint accuracy, and he's a very dynamic runner. Now, when he does make these throws on the run, his accuracy takes a significant dip, more so than some of the other prospects in this class. That should be noted. I think the biggest concern, though, for me, is how conservative he was with the ball. It really just resulted in holding on to the ball for way too long, and he would make questionable decision-making, and you maybe think he might be a slow processor. Like, I know that Ohio State offensive line was very good and it afforded him a lot of time, but there were instances going back to the Indiana or the Northwestern game where he faced, I wouldn't even say Indiana. Well, Indiana has a solid secondary, but teams that had decent, above average defenses, Northwestern actually was one of the better ones in the Big Ten. He didn't fare so well, and you saw these flaws. But still, I think he's got plus arm strength, how much zip he puts on the ball. He's got a very good arm, very accurate. I'd be willing to take a shot on him regardless in the top 10. And then Trey Lance, North Dakota State. Everyone loves Trey Lance, don't they? Especially after that Central Arkansas game this year, his showcase game. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. He is just a guy with a big arm and great athleticism. He's got huge tools. He is in terms of tools, elite. And I mean, if you want to go back to his 2019 tape, I mean, he threw 29 touchdowns to 0 or 1 pick. I can't even remember, but he makes very few poor decisions, at least going back to the 2019 tape. Granted, he had very few pass attempts. He only averaged about 18 attempts per game in 2019, and he's got a pretty long throwing motion, and obviously the mechanics need work. The accuracy isn't there yet. The ball placement isn't there yet, but he just screams Josh Allen upside, because Allen was similar in that way coming out of Wyoming. And we could go back to the game where he wasn't that impressive against Central Arkansas as far as a passer. Because dude's, like I said, his athletic upside is tremendous. But I don't mind taking him in the top 10, maybe sitting him for a year. And I mean, that's why we're hearing rumors that, maybe Atlanta's interested in him. Maybe 2 years under Matt Ryan. Then we move on from Ryan, and now we have this incredible prospect in Trey Lance. So the dude's just got elite tools, man. What can I say? He's got tools that go in the top 10. Be frank. Then Mac Jones here at 5. He's my last first round grade projection. I think he probably fits in the top 20, top 25. Mainly because he's got middle and arm strength. Like, it's nothing to write home about. And you could really point to his similarities in his arm talent to Joe Burrow's. And we'll go through that, and I'll tell you the difference. What made Joe Burrow a first overall pick compared to Jones, who probably should go around pick 20, 25. Let's first talk about the good. Again, middle and arm strength, but he's a great processor, throws with anticipation, and pinpoint accuracy, especially underneath. Now, what separated him and Burrow? Burrow, way more athletic. But Jones, in his own right, he's very underrated in terms of his pocket mobility. He can maneuver the pocket. He's very poised in doing so. But his numbers were inflated because of, the scheme and the talent around him. And maybe you're like, well, Joe Burrow had a ton of talent around him. What are you talking about? Let's get to the big difference. This is what I think is the nail in the coffin. Let's talk about tight window throws, because, oh boy, Mac Jones, he was throwing to almost wide open receivers all the time. He led college football in throws where his receivers had like tons of separation. And if you combined all those yards. He led it by the next closest like quarterback, 600 yards. That's how much separation they were getting at Alabama. Tight window throws, 41 this year for Mac Jones. What's the difference between him and Burrow? Burrow made 81. Burrow can fit it. He can fit it in a cookie cutter. I don't think that's an accurate metaphor, but he could fit it in a golf hole. Burrow is amazing. He deserved to be number one. Now, we talked about him being a limited athlete, and actually there's a big, like, when he's outside of structure, he does struggle. You can point to the Arkansas game. Like, go back and look. Minute, like, things start breaking down, he had to get out of the pocket. When he threw his first pick of the season, still blew Arkansas out because, again, the talent at Alabama was very immense. But they're not the same prospect. They have similarities in terms of their arm talent, but they're not the same prospect. But I think it warrants enough to be I'd take a first round flyer late in the first round. I do have a sponsor for today, and it's Thrive Sports, so check this out.
Experience a new way to play daily fantasy sports and esports on Thrive Fantasy. Thrive's game concept revolves around player props, which are simple over-unders on player stats. There are contests for traditional sports including the NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, and cricket, as well as esports titles including CSGO, Dota 2, League of Legends, and more coming soon. Here's how to play. Choose your lineup of over-unders for top-tier athletes that have the biggest impact on the game. Each prop has a fantasy point total based on how likely it is to hit. The more points the selection is worth, the riskier it is. Rack up the most points and win a share of the prize pool. Thrive is awarded over $2 million in cash, so come and prop up today.
The big game this Sunday. Thrive Fantasy Sports have you covered if you love those prop wagers. And if you use my code Broshmo, I got my own code. I made it, Dad. I finally made it. I'm somebody. Or you can just click the link in the description below and you'll receive an instant match up to $50 on your first deposit. Download the Thrive Fantasy app today, or you can check it out online. Again, the link's in the description below. So support the channel, support Thrive. And then the next two prospects I have here, I have day 2 grades on, and I could see him going to the second or third round. And I keep jumping between the two, but I'm going to go with the guy, a guy I believe in, a guy that I still love, Jamie Newman, I'm going to put Wake Forest because he didn't play a snap at Georgia, decided to opt out. And really, opting out hurt him this season. It really did. But let's talk about why I have Newman here. He's got his arm strength and his mobility are all first round worthy. His ball placement downfield was impeccable in 2019. He was 6th in catchable throws on passes of 20 yards or more in 2019. The guy is stupid accurate downfield. And it's not like Sage Surratt was giving him a lot of separation. So he had to fit it in. So let's talk about the negatives. It was a very simplistic offense at Wake Forest. It was a very RPO heavy offense with not a lot of different route concepts. Basically, it was Greg Roman's offense in a nutshell. Taking shots out here, yeah. Now, where Newman really struggled was throwing between the hash marks. Like throwing in the middle of the field, you saw a lot of mistakes there. And I mean, you could point to the Senior Bowl where day 1, man, he looked phenomenal. He came in, the velocity he had on his ball compared to Mac Jones was like, oh my gosh, Mac Jones, watch out, Jamie Newman's coming. And then the rest of the week looked like Jamie Newman was shaking off rust the whole week. Going into the game, it didn't look good for Newman, but I still believe in the prospect. And it's just he needs to get better at being able to read in the middle of the field. He just doesn't see linebackers underneath. He doesn't see safeties over the top. It's just not great. I think he definitely he doesn't even do a good job of manipulating defenders with his eyes or his head. You know, he kind of stares down where he wants to throw. Stares down his primary option. But I believe in this guy. I think he sits for a year. I had a second round grade on him going into the 2019 draft. Then he decided to come back, transfer, opt out. I was heartbroken, but I'm a Newman guy. He's my guy. Then I have Kyle Trask. I think everyone kind of figured Kyle Trask. If I didn't have Trask at 6, he would have been 7. So yeah, he's going to be 23 years old going into the draft, but he's got prototypical size and arm strength. And this is the best thing. In 2019, it was his first year as a starter, and we saw a very big leap in development from 2019 to 2020. He displayed a variety of different types of throws, and I loved seeing him. I loved seeing the willingness to throw it downfield that we didn't see in 2019. He is a bit of a statue in the pocket, and sometimes it works, man. He sits in the pocket, and he's willing to take a hit to make a throw. He's like unflinching. But since he had the ankle injury and he had to sit out the Senior Bowl week, there's no way he can improve his stock. And our last memory of him is the bowl game against Oklahoma, where he threw 3 picks in the first half. That's gonna sit with a lot of people. Now, I wouldn't say this guy's arm talent's special, but again, prototypical size, prototypical arm. You saw the big leap in development from 2019 to 2020, being just a 2-year starter. It's a guy I think well worth taking somewhere in day 2. And then I think the quarterback class kind of falls off here. Like, I don't have a day 2 guy from the remainder of this rankings. I don't even have a 4th round. Like, my next quarterback prospects, I got 2, are 5th. I have 5th round grades on. And it's very close between these 2. So sit with me while I go over Davis Mills and why I have him above Kellen Mond. Davis Mills, man, NFL arm strength. Does lack a little bit of zip behind his throw, but he's shown very good accuracy at throwing on all levels of the field, whether it's underneath, intermediate, or downfield. He's only had like 10 starts up. He has less than 500 career dropbacks. So you're really projecting here. You're projecting that arm strength. You're projecting that accuracy. And I mentioned Trevor Lawrence having a quick release. I'd say Mills has a much quicker release. He in Stanford's like the games we did see, he was kind of a rhythm type of passer, or 3 to 5 step drop back. And he's a quick processor, one read, no, bam, throw. However, when he does have to get mobile, when he does have to be on the run, his accuracy falls off a cliff. And being a guy with less than 500 dropbacks, you expect him not to be a peak decision maker. He's a poor decision maker. He hasn't had a lot of experience. So I'm willing to bet on the former 5-star recruit, willing to bet on that arm talent, that this is a guy maybe we can take a late flyer, like a day 3 flyer on, and maybe develop him. Now let's get to Kellen Mond, because I know a lot of people, I saw the hype after the Senior Bowl, and listen, I love the Senior Bowl too, but let's kill that hype train right now, all right? I'm going to put a stop to it. I know everybody's like, choo-choo, all aboard. I'm not all aboard the Kellen Mond trade. Listen, the Senior Bowl, it's designed to make quarterbacks look good. Quarterbacks that have good, like above average arm talent will do well, will look good, and will maybe coax some of the coaches or scouts to be like, oh man, this is a guy we need to get our hands on. I'm not falling for it with Kellen Mond. I think the Kellen Mond that we saw at the Senior Bowl is peak Kellen Mond. And I'll tell you why. Now, he was coming from a pro-style system that ran a lot of play action, and admittedly, he looks very good when on the move. We saw that during the Senior Bowl week. He has a lot of experience. 4-year starter there at Texas A&M. He's got adequate arm strength. It's all right. He's decent at going through progression. So all that was going to be good at the Senior Bowl. He was going to look great. the thing is, we've been waiting 2 years for Kellen Mond to have his breakout, and then he finally has it in 2020. And when you really look at it, it's not as impressive as you think. Most of his throws were underneath, and he hardly attacked downfield. He only had, I think, 32 attempts of 20 yards or more. His accuracy has been average. He's been inconsistent like his whole career. I think the Kellen Mond we saw this year, this is the best we're ever going to get. I think this is the plateau of his development. I think what you see is what you get. I think he can be an adequate backup in the NFL. But, I mean, you still hold on to hope that this is a guy that can develop, that has had a ton of experience, especially in a pro-style system. I think that's worth a 5th rounder. But when it comes to, like, Davis Mills, a guy that's you're basically dealing with a blank slate with good arm strength, fairly good accuracy, former 5-star, I'd rather take that than Mond. That's just my opinion on it. You could take it or leave it. And then my final guy on this list, unless you're a Bro Scout tier member, then stick with me after the outro, and I'll rattle off the rest of my rankings. But I got Ian Book, man. Ian Book, for most of the year, even last year, I had as an undrafted free agent. And then we saw a lot of guys decide to come back. We saw our Desmond Ritters, our Brock Purdy's, our Kenny Pickett, Dustin Crum, guys that honestly should go back. Maybe not Pickett, man. I think Pickett and Ritter probably don't have a lot to gain. I think they're going to probably be day 2 guys, even with banger years. But we'll see. We'll see. A lot can change in a year. But let's talk about Book. What do we have with Book? I got a 6th-round grade on him. I think he could be a average starting quarter or average backup quarterback in the league. He has a ton of experience. This is actually his 3rd year as a starter. Very agile, very mobile, but I don't think that'll translate in the NFL where there's a lot more speed. The NFL is very fast. I don't think that'll translate too much, but I like the idea that he can make plays on the run, make plays on the move. He's got average arm talent at best. Kind of locks on to one read. He was a bit better about that this year in Notre Dame, but he has no natural feel for the pocket. A lot of times, he's just getting the heck out of Dodge before pressure even arrives. There's really no willingness for him to push the ball downfield, which is a real shame because when he does push the ball downfield, he can put some nice touch on those passes. I think we're just, at best, working with the backup quarterback here. This is why I got the 6th-round grade on him. But that's it for the video. Of course, unless you're a Bro Scout tier, then hang with me. But go ahead, do the YouTube thing. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.